Hello, didn't hear you come in. Greetings and welcome to... Wait a minute. No, wrong series. Hey, Epic Derpy here, and welcome to my first top 10 list. Well, since every brony and their grandmother has done their own top 10, I figured it's high time I did. So, and I tell you, it was not easy, but I managed to narrow it down. The only rules I have with this list are... it has to be episodes between seasons 1 and 3. I'm not going to touch season 4, because that one's still coming out with episodes. And two-parter episodes I'm going to count as a whole, rather than separate. So, enough stalling, let's get to the list. Number 10. Best Night Ever. It was the first season finale, it was a good season finale. It left the first season off on a good note. I mean, you got the main six all in their new dresses, and it was an episode that was built up to. And I think another thing I really enjoy about it is how many Disney references there are. And I'm pretty sure in past episodes they've used Disney as a reference before, but this one is just straight up obvious. I mean, turning an apple into a carriage, turning mice into horses, and glass slipper. Yeah. What is not traditional Disney is them going to a ball and having their dreams pretty much crushed. But you know what? That's okay, because fantasies like this don't happen in real life, so to see this happening in a cartoon is out of the ordinary, and it's good. It plays out really well. It's got hilarious moments, it's got a good message across. You won't always get what you expect, it's just how you make of the situation. And that's a good message to convey. I'm not too keen on the songs in it, but it's still a fun episode. Plus, it's the first time Fluttershy scares us. Moving on. Number 9. Winter Wrap-Up. Instant classic. I think aside from the fact that this episode has the best song in all of Season 1, I think what's most interesting about it is how, to me, it feels like one of those episodes you'd watch around Christmas time. Like, you know, when all the holiday specials come out. But chronologically, this episode takes place far after Christmas. This is the beginning of spring. So, would you play this at Christmas time? Or would you play it at Easter or at New Year's? Or what? But no, that's just me. It was a lot of fun hearing all of the main six singing. They all have great voices, and it was also fun to see how Twilight tries to not use magic, because that seems to be her primary resource, that aside from books. So, it was just a great episode. Number 8. Stairmaster and Last Roundup. I put these two together because to me they're a little similar. In that aspect, I can relate to them very easily. Stairmaster because I know what it's like to babysit little kids and have them not listen to you. So, I know what Fluttershy is going through, and it's not easy. But it made up for some great moments. I mean, Fluttershy fantasizing about what they'll do, it gets me laughing every time. We're gonna have a nice little tea party and braid each other's tails. Oh god. And we learn apparently Fluttershy has a hypnotic stare that terrorizes animals, and Sweetie Belle has an incredible singing voice. I swear to god, she's like a miniature Whitney Houston or something. I don't know. But they need to bring that voice back. I swear to god, it's been going down as the seasons progress. That, and it's just a really fun episode, especially for Fluttershy and the Cutie Mark Crusaders. That's just a great pairing right there. It also got me wondering, who would win in a staring contest? Chuck Norris or Fluttershy? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Now, I say last Roundup I can easily relate to because I know what Applejack's going through. I know what it feels like to have something expected of you and you don't follow through with it and you feel like you're a big disappointment to everyone and you can't face them. I've been there. I've done that. It's not pretty. But it was pretty much a telling of my story too, because eventually I fessed up to my friends and family and they still like me the same. They don't change their opinion, they're not disappointed, they just want me to be my best. And plus it's an Applejack episode, and I love Applejack. And, oh yeah, Derpy talks! Hell yeah! Fan service, and we love it! And I don't really know how to feel about the change they made, because I kind of fell in love with the first voice. Plus, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Boggled eyes don't equal retardation! Ugh. Seriously, what is offensive about this? Tell me! Either way, they're both great episodes. Number 7. Suited for Success. At first, I wasn't too keen about this episode, but after seeing a review by Brony Curious, I got instantly hooked. And my love for Rarity grew to the point where she's now tied with Applejack. And no, I am not a fan of the whole Rarajack ship, because honestly I think there's been too many of those kinds of ships as of late. But what I do love is Rarity's speaking voice, Rarity's singing voice in this, and also the introduction of DJ Pone 3. Hell yeah! And I also love how it was also an episode that built up towards Best Night Ever. I mean, Ticketmaster was okay, but I wouldn't really consider it my favorite. So, lots of great character in this, lots of great dialogue. The only thing I can say I don't like about it is how the other 5, when they first see their dresses, they turn them down. I was like, what is wrong with you? These look freaking amazing! And you're just gonna turn them down like that? God. Moving on. Number 6. Too Many Pinkie Pies. This episode had me laughing all the way through. At first I thought it wasn't going to be as strong an episode, because in past cartoons that I've seen where an episode focuses on the most comical character, they don't usually play out that well, because either the character eventually becomes boring, the jokes eventually become dry, or the narrative just becomes kaput. But in this, no, it held up pretty well. Pinkie Pie had great dialogue, she even on her own, when she wasn't talking to her friends. And even when there were just multiples of her, it still held strong. And still kept many hilarious moments. I just love the... Of course, the best part is when she's talking to everyone else. And also when the test comes around. I swear to God, I heard that test for the first time and I just cracked up. The test will be watching paint dry. I was like, what? And of course, all the shenanigans that happen. Oh, is that a frog crossed with an orange? Cool, where? Look what I can do with my hoof. And the G3 reference, I was just like, ah! God! It was definitely an episode that I just stayed hooked to. It's incredible. Number 5. Luna Eclipsed. I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm a sucker for Halloween specials. So, when My Little Pony came out with this one, I was like, yes! And to top it off, we get Princess Luna! Come on, people, what more can you want? An episode featuring Best Princess. I will admit this, I was a little confused when her appearance changed, because, honestly, I highly doubt anyone forgot what she looked like at the beginning of Season 1. It's pretty unforgettable. And all the speculation started going, why does she look like this? Well, instead of this, what happened here? Why is she different? And probably another weird thing that I think happened is Luna seems to be hooked on the things of the past, but her sister never brought her up to speed on what has changed. What has she done this whole time, ever since before this episode came out? Just sitting secluded in her room? Or what happened? But regardless, I love seeing Princess Luna. I love seeing all of the characters in costumes. Except for Rarity. They didn't have Rarity in this episode. What's up with that? So, yeah, you're probably thinking, why the hell is this number 5? Because, regardless of all that, it makes great conversation, for one. And, like I said, it's also got a great moral to it. I mean, helping spread friendship, even though someone may look intimidating, how to take what's wrong with taking scares too far, and just watching Luna adapt to all this stuff is just fun. Like when she's taking voice lessons from Fluttershy, that's all just great. Hi, thank me, dear Fluttershy. Yes, great episode for Best Princess, and I sure hope we get to see more of her in the 4th season. And speaking of 4, number 4, Keep Calm and Flutter On. I gotta admit, having John Delancey as a villain in this series is just fantastic. I'm not a Trekkie, but I'm well aware of who Q is, and frankly, I just love him. So to see him as this is great. But when I decided on this episode, it was either gonna be Return to Harmony or this episode, and I thought, nah, Discord was better in this episode. Because not only is he doing a great job interacting with the main 6 like he did before, but now it's all, how can I put it, probably more casualized. Like, it's not all big, evil, plot-driven. This is an episode where they're trying to get him to be a good guy. And it makes for great dialogue, great humor, great reactions from the characters. I will admit, it does seem rushed, seeing as how he is reformed over the span of 1 day. And in all honesty, I think Pinkie Pie would have been a far better choice to reform him, because she pretty much embraces chaos. But it made for great lines. Especially, my favorite one especially is when he says, "Being turned to stone doesn't keep me from hearing every word Celestia says. However, I'll admit it makes rolling my eyes a challenge." It's Discord is great. Fluttershy is great. This episode is fantastic. Number 3, Sisterhooves Social. This is probably one of my biggest favorite of Season 2. Well, one of my favorites of Season 2. One of the big ones, that's why it's on it. I can't get up. This is just a really great episode, because you've got Rarity and her sister Sweetie Belle. Spoiler, Sweetie Belle is my favorite Cutie Mark Crusader. And seeing the interactions between the characters in this is so good. Seeing how Rarity reacts to her little sister, seeing Applejack with her sister, it's just great. It kind of reminds me of the relationship I have with my little sister, and in other cases with my little brother. I mean, I have a great relationship with my little sister, and Applejack and Applebloom portray it really well. And like, oh, I can relate to that. And the way Rarity is with Sweetie Belle, I can somewhat relate that with my little brother, except ours is different. But yes, I loved seeing Sweetie Belle and her adorableness, and seeing Rarity get all exasperated. Oh, and let's not forget the heartfelt moment when she sees Sweetie Belle's drawing. I was just like, God, that's very good. That would shatter anyone's heart. Yes, but what else can I say? I mean, probably the only thing that was missing from here is seeing Twilight and her big brother. Of course, we don't see that until later, and it was hand-tossed. But regardless, this episode was still awesome. Number 2. Sleepless in Ponyville. I can easily declare this episode the best of Season 3. Why? Well, for starters, it's a Scootaloo episode, and it was high time we had one, because the other Cutie Mark Crusaders got theirs. Then you've got a group of the main 6 going on a camping trip, which in my mind sounds like the beginning of a joke. Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Rarity are going on a camping trip. That, and of course we get another appearance of Best Princess Ever. But what really shines here is the development of Rainbow Dash. All throughout the rest of the season, we've seen Rainbow Dash's reaction to Scootaloo. Scootaloo's basically her fan, and she's like, "Yeah, what's up, kid?" But no, here, she gets what's going on. She realizes Scootaloo's not just a fan. Oh, no. Scootaloo idolizes Rainbow Dash. Just like how Rainbow Dash idolizes the Wonderbolts, and thus she can relate to this. She sees where Scootaloo is coming from. And when she hears she wants to be her sister, she goes in. She goes for it. She wants to do that. And I may be quoting Brony Curious right now, but I don't care. It's that great of an episode. And it has the most heartfelt moment ever. Take the wing. Just bring her in close. Nuzzle! Moving on! And the number 1 episode is the Canterlot Wedding. I know, this is a big major pick for a lot of bronies, but how can you blame them? This episode's fantastic! You've got all the main characters, you've now got a main male character now, you had a great villain, you had a great song, you got to see Celestia and Luna. You also get a reappearance of DJ Pone 3. What more could you want? I don't care what flaws you pointed out, Anthony C. I love this episode. It's probably the one episode I watch the most out of all of them. It's got a great story, and sure, it may have been inspired by the royal wedding in England, but I don't care. It's still just so good. But that's putting it on too light a note. No, I loved seeing how all the main 6 go about getting ready for this wedding. I think that's pretty funny at times, but it's enjoyable to watch. The songs in this were spot on. When I heard This Day aria, I instantly thought, this sounds a lot like Little Mermaid. So again, getting back to the Disney inspiration. And plus, the villain in this, Queen Chrysalis, I swear to God, I'm torn between her and Discord being best villain, because both of these villains played off the main 6 so well. Plus, Chrysalis has a really distinctive look to her. I mean, she's like a decayed insect alicorn creature. It's just amazing. Plus, that voice she has, man, it just like screams, I've got power. And plus, she's got an entire army in her hoof. I can't really blame her. Great. And she's also the first villain to not be conquered by the elements of harmony, but rather the power of love. And I was actually relieved to see that. But the episode was great. It was the best season finale thus far. It's an unforgettable episode. No brony is ever gonna forget it. It was fan-freaking-tastic. And those are my top 10 episodes. If you like what you see, leave a comment below, like, subscribe. And special shout out to Brianna H for recommending this episode. So, till next time, herp-a-derp.